let's get it right. We're serving Big Bear vibes every Friday night. Easton's got his glitter bear on high and jaded shades, ready to read it to Phil. Spilling sass while Techie Joe upgrades the view and attempt to keep it a little classy. Good LGBTQIA plus from these mountain tops. We got a whiskey in the cup and no plans to stop. Tech news, hot takes, and a little bit of fight. So buckle up, sugar, it's gonna be a ride. Well, the mountain bears, turn up the sound. If you ain't ready, better leave this town. We're big, bold, and breaking the mold. So grab a drink and let's let it unfold.
Good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Mason Knight, Bear with the Most, and of course I'm sitting down with my cubby of the mostest, Techie Joe. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm doing well. How are you this evening?
Dragging my ass.
I know, right?
I don't know what is up. Maybe it's the weather. Yes, we know there is terrible weather going on from Colorado all the way across the eastern seaboard. It's even hitting our favorite state of North Carolina. So here is a warning. The storm hasn't hit yet. It was looking dark when I pulled Gizmo in. If we go off air, it's not because we got mad at each other. Please do not send messages to us going, oh my God, are y'all breaking up? No, we're not breaking up. The internet has died. The power has died.
Is there a real problem we have, though? Like, if we both go out at once, like, that's power outage.
Yeah.
Like, we're not coordinated enough to get that angry at the exact same moment. Like, if that were to happen, it would be like one of us is left on air going, we'll be right back.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Or
Like,
you'll see us both in the same camera as one comes to strangle the other one.
Or something thereabouts. Like, what is your problem?
Yes.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, no. If we're both going out at the same time, we didn't even hit end stream. Yeah, no, that's power outage.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And yes, the stream continues operating without us. That's how inventive the thing is. I wish it would just roll the bean roll. I don't know. Maybe, one of Joe's.
Well, but we've had moments where we were able to recover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we've had the internet glitch out and just totally kill this, or not kill the stream, but kill us from the stream. We just kind of, get caught in a weird, expression.
Exactly.
So it's not the worst thing in the world that it doesn't instantly kill it. Like, I'm glad that it keeps rolling for at least a little bit. So if we can get back in, we can.
Exactly. All right. The other thing is we got to end on time. I got to go judge a pageant, throw a crown on somebody, act like a boss.
The things. But hey, Brenda. Hey, Devin.
Hello, Brenda. Hello, Devin. All right. And I'm hoping the pageant, we don't have any bras. I don't think I have any Southerners being in the pageant this time. So I don't have to worry about glass being in their makeup or someone torching an outfit. Although that's still a possibility.
It's West Virginia.
I know it's West Virginia. But North Carolina, I have to have a bodyguard for my outfits.
Fair enough.
Right.
But apparently we can't have a high school graduation in Beckley without a bra.
I know, right?
I know, right? So West Virginia Metro News brings us this one. What was supposed to be one of the most joyous times in life for students at Woodrow Wilson High School on Saturday devolved into a brawl on the lawn of the Raleigh County Convention Center in Beckley. As graduates exited the convention center, diplomas in hand and caps and gowns still on, a fight broke out involving a large number of people. Video of the incident posted to social media showed adults engaging in a melee with people screaming, running, fists flying, and other individuals throwing bodies trying to break up the brawl. There's no indication who started the altercation or what it could have been over. What we know happened was there was a fight involving a large number of people, said David Allard, deputy chief of the Beckley Police Department. Officers from the Beckley Police were quickly dispatched to the scene, but even with a quick response, the actual fighting was over before law enforcement arrived. We have obtained some surveillance video and video from concerned citizens who were filming, so that's really what we're trying to determine: who was involved, who was the primary aggressor, and who may have been criminally liable, he added. The video showed mostly adults in the fight. It's unclear if they were actually parents of the graduates. There are also very few students involved in the melee. Allard said it was sad that such a joyous time was marred by an ugly incident. It's very sad. This is how the graduation will be remembered for some people. So yeah, they were asking for anyone that had information. There's an update. Sorry, I forgot to pull that. Oh, I thought that's the one I grabbed. So yeah, in terms of how big was this fight? So yeah, 10 warrants issued in melee following Woodrow Wilson High School graduation ceremony. So yeah, let's see, where is it? Yeah, the news release said a gun was recovered, but investigators determined the firearm was not drawn during the incident. Word has been issued for 19-year-old Jalen Marquise Cook for possession of a deadly weapon on the premises of a school-sponsored function, according to the news release. Police said several additional misdemeanor warrants have been issued for battery. And officers are asking wanted individuals to turn themselves in at the Beckley Police Department. I don't know that some of this wasn't graduates or soon-to-be graduates, recent graduates.
It looks like mostly graduates because it's 21-year-olds to 18-year-olds.
Yeah, it's like 18, 19, 21, 21, 21, 18, 18, 18, 18, and then the 19-year-old with a gun. Which, I'm being nice. I don't think, and you can go read the story if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm being decent about the fact that these are misdemeanor warrants, and it is a fight, and it's not the worst thing that could ever happen.
Yeah, apparently it costs $500.
Yes.
It's a $500 fine. They're not going to do the 12 months in jail. Yeah, or punishable by 12 months in jail. They're not going to do that. We get too much overcrowding. So $500 to whip somebody's ass. Damn, that went up. Really, $175.
We really hope that anyone involved can post the $500.
Yeah. Well,
but there was crazy to be fighting at graduation. That's not the time nor the place. That's like fighting, and not that it never happens. It's like fighting at a funeral. And that one's sometimes a little more understandable. Emotions are running high, usually in a negative already. I can sort of understand if a fight breaks out at a funeral. I know many funeral directors that are probably able to go, let me tell you about this one time.
Excuse me, I know many funerals that have hired security for their funerals when certain families are involved, because there have been brawls in the parking lot, brawls over the casket, brawls in the back room. It occurs in West Virginia. There are certain families that they grieve by beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah. So
but at graduation,
and just a side note, if you're ever speaking with a funeral director and they ask you the question about are there any other, situations or considerations we need to have? That's the question they're asking. Is someone going to show up and shoot the place up? Is
Right.
someone going to show up and start a fight? Do we have any crazy cousins? Are you serving alcohol?
Yeah.
Any of those will typically tip off we should probably get security. At least have some big pallbearers standing near all exits. Cousin punched a hole in the wall at one. They just add it to the bill. Ultimately, if there is any damage, yes, they do. But more to the point, it's one of those things that you really want to do that to the deceased family. And even if you do, that's just like not the time and place.
Oh, please. This is West Virginia. I'm surprised we don't have cage fights.
Alcohol was in the trunk of the car parked closest to the back door.
Yep.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And apparently in Ashland, Kentucky,
Huh?
there was a shootout
Oh, at a graduation?
at a graduation. It was very
Oh.
interesting to watch the view. They've not made news. I wonder, which happens a lot in Kentucky, like we find news media that just disappears.
Here's the video.
Yeah.
Whoosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. You think about it. I could understand this. The graduates have been told for 6 months now, if you get suspended, you do not get to walk across the thing. So they waited.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's the backfire thought.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are many high school administrators who will pull the thing of, if you get in trouble, if you participate in senior skip day, if you participate in a senior prank, if you participate in this, that, anything else, they'll either take away senior prom
Mm-hmm.
and or the ability to walk during graduation. Couple of problems there.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to the morning of graduation,
Uh-huh.
you have no power here.
No.
They've already walked across the stage. What are you going to take from them?
Right.
So there have been many instances where, you got a few good last weeks at school without any incidents, problems, suspensions, whatever but then the day of turned into a circus.
Exactly.
The pranks were getting pulled, inappropriate behavior was all over the place because they're starting to have the dawning realization, I'm fully an adult now.
Right.
You can't do anything to me anymore.
Right.
So, it's one of those things. Sometimes it's better to deal with the little problems
Mm-hmm.
along the way to graduation than to run that threat.
Right.
And then have all the crap happen at graduation.
Right.
So, mileage sometimes, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How far are you going to get with this? What's the more important thing, dealing with a few shenanigans at school or dealing with, things get out of hand at graduation?
Right.
That's usually the one that's that's not the day. Neither the time.
Right.
But there are administrators that still do it.
Right.
I think too. It's not bad crowd control, but it has rebound effect.
Right.
So.
And it's there's got to be a better way. Granted, someone deserves an ass beating, but it's got to be a better way. Fucking take it to a designated location and have a fair fight and sell popcorn and raise funds for a charity. Come on.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna do this, not that anyone suggests you do this, but just let the graduation, leave it alone. Like, if you
Right.
want to go, beat each other senseless like cavemen, do it later, somewhere else.
Right. Well,
Like,
the Tough Man contest is coming up here soon. Like, y'all 10 could have solved it in the ring.
I know, right?
And September 1st. Like, y'all guys could have trained and got that together. Actually, they could have ran out, gone a few other places quicker, but, September 1st is Tough Man and Beckley. Y'all guys could have really had a good fight there. And possibly raise some money for, I think, the Children's Foundation or one of the foundations, and won some money. Like, come on, think like entrepreneurs here. Put some work into it.
I mean, that's a level of delayed gratification
Mm-hmm.
that kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really, like, there probably wouldn't be a fight if they were capable of going, is this really worth it? Or
Right.
there's a better way to handle this. Like, if
Right.
you can get those two things, probably wouldn't
Right.
have been melee at the
Exactly.
graduation exit. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but if anyone does run into, because I did see another story with this one,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't confirm it. So if anyone runs into a source for it, I'd really appreciate it. It was like, it is basically rumored or talked about that there was another graduation that was interrupted by a naked man. So if you run across the source for that one, I'm all ears. But I could not find it. I don't know if it just hadn't hit press yet, or if that's another one that's like, we're going to take that article down.
Yeah.
Throw it back to the paywall. Now, apparently, that was sort of an issue in at last graduation, and I think that was Greenbrier County. So be careful out there. That's a, that one is kind of an it is, but it isn't, but it is, but it isn't.
Right.
Like, it's not the story I'm looking for. I did find that one. But that one's kind of, yeah, they were outside of graduation, but that's because their hotel was outside of graduation, and there was a whole going on there.
Yeah, like that was being hidden deep.
Yeah, I'm figuring that one's not popping for whatever reason.
Well,
or it's just not coming up under Naked Man.
Yeah.
So, anyway, if anyone shares it and you run across it, let us know.
If you're Patreon, pop it into the newsroom. Like, that is where you guys can share stories with us that you want to hear us talk about. All right, so we're getting led everywhere else except where we want to go. All right, so let's pop over and let's start talking about something interesting we're seeing. Okay, everyone remembers the Pulse shooting 9 years ago?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, 2016.
2016, yeah.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. The Orange County Commission voted unanimously to contribute $5 million in an effort by the city of Orlando to honor those killed in the 2016 massacre. And it was a vote unanimous. Orlando officials earlier this year released their plans for a reflective pool and 48 Canyon columns. on
49 canopy columns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand what that is. What's interesting is public funding is almost doubling that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like most of this is privately funded. Most of this is coming from donors, from organizations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which we've seen before, and it's actually now causing an issue. And this is an issue that people do not get. Like it's a very seriously driven issue. Is privately funding memorials, groups and organizations paying for it. And there's been that big talk, that big debate over like taking down the Stonewall, taking down all the other things. Not Stonewall, taking down Civil War monuments. And I'm hoping that it's clearly deeded who owns the monument. This is why. In 200 years, will they want to take it down? Will they want to change it? And the problem is there's not a clear deed on who owns the monument, and then political debate gets into it.
Well, and I mean, there's a lot that sometimes goes into monuments. Like, I don't know. It just seems like, not that we haven't erected a lot of monuments to, town founders, historical, leaders,
Right.
Regardless of various opinions on the subject, and we've gotten into those. Still, it's typically a single individual, and you can at least understand.
Right.
That, like, okay, the motives may not be pure, but, like, I get it.
Right.
But then we're seeing a lot of, like, veterans memorials, and not just like the Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., but lots of smaller veteran memorials, minor memorials. Like every time we have a mine explosion now, we get another memorial site.
Right.
I just, at what point does this, at what point are we just going to end up with memorials everywhere?
Well, and that's the thing, and that's the pause that I have with this. I'm very like, and this is the pause. There a lot of memorials mean a lot to the people that put them together. It means a lot to the community. Like as we start building like Stonewall, we finally got a memorial at fucking Stonewall. But I'm sorry, Gizmo just stepped on my foot.
But yeah, there kind of comes this idea of, and I don't mean to diminish anyone's tragedy. I really don't. But some of these monuments are quite large. Or they're large whole park kind of encapsulations. Like they're very pretty. Don't get me wrong on that.
Right.
I just start to wonder if we continue that idea. One, at what point do we literally have monuments all over the place, commemorating every kind of event? But what's the long-term necessary relevance? Not that I'm trying to diminish the Pulse shooting. That has been a very important event. But and it's not to say that any of the events are unimportant. It's just I start to wonder, like the threshold for building these seems to be getting lower and lower. In terms of it doesn't cost as much. There's a lot of community support. Immediate aftermath of tragic events. But I just struggle with the idea of what is this going to look like at some future point. Are we just going to have monuments everywhere and like good luck trying to find a place to build a house, build a business, revitalize it downtown? Or are we going to end up with sort of this warehousing of monuments where we kind of don't have anywhere else to put it? So we just kind of needed the space and we just kind of shove it into a closet.
Right. Well, and I'm looking at the funding proposal for this, which is very large, and our community has done very well. And looking at the size of the monument they're planning, and I'm like, how much of that money would it take to run a LGBT youth program house? How, the bar was approximately, a very large bar. It's a city block. How about a senior center for LGBT with funding? Like, we lost a lot of people that done a lot of things for the community. Could we be using that money for something better?
Well, see,
something
now there was
more impactful.
Now, there's been an issue with the original plans to build a museum at the Pulse nightclub shooting site.
Right.
And those plans were abandoned, 2023,
Right.
because there were a lot of issues there. But yeah, no, and they lost the site because now the city owns it.
Right.
Because the city of Orlando made a $2 million offer to buy the nightclub site from Barbara Poma. So yeah, I just I struggle with the idea that sometimes I think some memorials are very much justified and they're a wonderful thing and they're a great component to local, city, state, national, history, tourism, understanding. I get it. But I really start to question at this point if we're not just going to end up going a little overboard with some of these and how much we're spending on them. And I think you're absolutely right that maybe we need to look at not abandoning the memorial concept entirely, but how can we move beyond having a giant one more park with one more set of granite stones or obsidian stones or whatever the stones are, and brass plaques and on and on and on. Is it really the best way to move forward? And I'm not trying to ding anyone's need to grieve and have a communal space to do that in and to commemorate the tragedy. I'm just going, is this the way? Is this how you really communicate that story? And how long until that story and that park and what it represents really isn't going to have a future impact? Versus like something you're saying, like creating a nursing home out of that tragedy to support people. That, maybe not everyone realizes it, and maybe not everyone ever benefits from it, but it has a much deeper meaning behind it. That, Stone Cliff or Stone Rise or whatever the hell it is bought another fucking facility.
But looking at the 49 lost lives we have here and what Paul stood for, what every bar stands for in our community, which is community. I'm in a big debate of, do we want another reflective pond with pillars and flowers and,
I mean, it's not like you can't do that.
You can.
You could. And then,
Right. Build
like,
something that rebuilds community, that supports community. The number, and I've been in the bar scene, have lived the bar life for many years, and know the power of a bar. And what I mean by that, and you're thinking, oh my God, no, I'm talking about the community that's built. I'm talking about, and I don't go to them, but there are reunions for even the bars that have closed.
well, because and especially more like not necessarily as much recent history, but as you go back, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 on down the line,
Right.
years, it really is a big part of the only community space
Right.
in some areas that people had was,
Mhm.
Their small town gay bar, their, their little hole in the wall bar, their little nightclub, their nightclub, whatever it was. That
Right.
was it. That was the whole shooting match.
Right.
For the most part, until you get into the 80s, and then we kind of did a big thing with more LGBTQ centers, mostly surrounded around like HIV testing, healthcare, and community support, or around those things, and then kind of started branching into things like addiction recovery,
Right.
and things like that. But prior to that, yeah, the bar was it. It was your one stop. It was a community center. It's where you did all your stuff. Like you
Right.
hung out there on Friday night. You need to have your wedding. Even if it wasn't legal, you had it there. You hosted it in the bar. You did fundraisers at the bar. You did drag shows at the bar. You did everything at the bar.
You held holiday dinners at the bar. You fed anybody that needed feeding at the bar. You done clothing drives at the bar. Like it was.
Boyfriend kicks you out, you go to the bar.
Right.
Not just in that, like, okay, men are like light bulbs. When one goes out, you screw another one in. But more so in the, like, there wasn't a social safety net. There's like, and it can be very dangerous. Either on the streets or just trying to, like, even go to a homeless shelter. Because the thing is required. And some of the issues that are going to come with that.
Right.
So
but then that's also where the houses came into effect. Looking at Broadway, there was Broadway and the Palace. The bar was downstairs. The dressing room was was upstairs at Broadway, and above that was 3 apartments. And who knew who was sleeping in those apartments? Because most of the time it was like, go talk to the bartender. He'll rent you an apartment for like $30. The daddy sitting at the bar hands the $30 to you and tells you to go get the apartment. I mean, the bars were a central hub. And this is what people do not get about Pulse. Is it wasn't just a bar. It wasn't just a hookup spot. It was a fucking center of fucking community. And sometimes the whole fucking world, especially if we go back to 80s and 90s, need a job, go to the bar. Need, funding, go to the bar. Need, friends, go to the bar. Need support, go to the bar. Need, housing, go to the bar.
You need a reference for a doctor. You need a reference for a therapist. You need a reference for someone to fix your fucking plumbing.
Yeah.
That isn't going to come in, judge your life, call you an abomination and try to get you
or charge you the rainbow tax.
Yeah. No, it really was a central resource, and this is early days of internet and prior, where it was still a little bit before we actually had any resources online.
Right.
That also became a resource space. And that's another one that's seen a lot of places just kind of fail, just disappear. That those aren't there anymore. But no, I mean, it really, and that's in addition to and this is a hard sentence to say and not sound diminishing,
Uh-huh.
is that with so many bars that are now failing,
Mm-hmm.
because they are becoming less of a central part of, or like a key resource, a key component,
Mm-hmm.
um, in cities and even small towns. Um, so many end up going into oblivion, like it's there and then it's gone,
Mm-hmm.
and there is no memorial. Like there may be, groups that get together and have a reunion,
Mm-hmm.
but there's still the loss of community, what it was still supporting and doing,
Mm-hmm.
but the bar became insolvent. It was no
Right.
longer profitable. It didn't work anymore.
Right.
Or the owners simply aged out of being able to support this idea
Right.
of, like, I'm 75, how many more years can I keep, bussing tables and washing glasses and, swinging a baseball bat with authority, to be like,
Mm-hmm.
get the fuck out.
Right. Well, but you, but the and we've lost a lot of the old bar owners. And I'm not talking about, well, they don't own the bar anymore. I'm talking they're dead.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I'm sorry, I'm dragging a thing. But, it's like in Charleston, Herschel probably financed most of the beauty salons, most of the gay mortgages, most of the, like, bar owners own real estate out the ass because they, are smart businessmen. No, they own real estate out the ass because it's like, yeah, go rent it. Here's the amount of rent. I don't care if you got 5 boyfriends. You know? Or, oh, you need a mortgage, but you can't get it from a bank? Well, let's look at your credit report. Well, that looks good. That looks good. All right, you two are together. You've been together for 10 years. I'll buy the house, and then you guys buy me back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like these in terms, and someone's not going to foreclose on you because they found out about your,
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is a legitimate concern and has been a legitimate concern.
Right.
And a lot were actually just buying property, like
Mm-hmm.
not just land, but like whole houses, just for the ability for people to
Mm-hmm.
have somewhere to go,
Right.
to have a landlord that's not going to throw them out because, yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah.
And can still be a thing.
Right.
Like no, and then even lending today
Mm-hmm.
does still come with risks.
Right.
It, like, weirdly, banking was exempted from most of the anti-discrimination
Mm-hmm.
to start with. Like they've
Right.
been able to legally discriminate.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely legal.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdest thing in the world.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Still is there.
So, I mean, it does start to kind of become a thing of, like, what is the remembrance? What is the right remembrance?
Right. What is
You
the
know what I
right remembrance? That's my thing is,
Like,
in
have
the
a reflecting
1800s.
pool. I'm not against a reflecting pool.
Yeah.
Reflecting pools are beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Have a memorial statue. Have a,
Right.
like, tell the story. That's important. But
Mm-hmm.
kind of maybe start refocusing some of the efforts on, okay, but what are we building around it? Like, this
Right.
took out a chunk of our community safety net.
Right.
So what are we going to do in its stead? Like,
Mm-hmm.
are we going to maybe create a group to advocate for better laws and better protection? Are we going to create a bank that their core commitment is we support the gay community, we do not discriminate, you're not going to have your house foreclosed on because we find out about your boyfriend?
Right.
Like, that's not a thing we do.
Right.
we're not going to, give you a rainbow tax for your mortgage. We're not going to sit here and look at you like suckers when you walk through the door. We're not going to play games. Like, a medical center.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, we're a little full up on those.
Right.
But the thing we don't have a lot of, and that's even it's just standard healthcare, are geriatricians
Mm-hmm.
that like understand, like, as you age, that your healthcare really needs to change focus.
Exactly.
Like, you're not going to live forever. Let's start focusing on quality of life and stop just trying to squeeze out every last drop of time.
Right.
Because at some point it's going to become moot to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're just doing everything we can to keep you alive as long as possible, you may have many, many years that it doesn't really matter to you.
Right.
Because the weight of the medical, like the health care, and I don't mean financially, but just the cost of undergoing treatments, the time spent in doctors' offices, the time spent in rehab and recovery, and on down the line, that the burden of that starts to make it like, this is my entire life.
Right.
I go from doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment to doctor's appointment, and then I start all over again.
Right.
And what am I doing?
Right.
Like, so, and that's some of the conversations one has with geriatrician.
Right.
And I think that's kind of important to start seeing that from a gay focus.
Right.
Is like, what do you want your gay golden years to look like?
Mm-hmm.
That as it's becoming more apparent that, like, all we're doing is putting more time on the clock, is that really what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's break point here, where all we've done is put more time on the clock, and you have more days than quality.
Right. But and it's one of those things, and this is one of those that's like, let's talk about this. Where are we really headed? Okay, what are we really doing? Well, let's start doing what we really need to be doing. Okay, put a pond, put pillars, put a statue, but put something together that actually replaces what we lost, other than the beings of life.
Like, remembrances are great, and we're not arguing that.
Right.
But it's like, what are we doing with canopies?
Yeah.
What the hell are the canopies?
Yeah.
Like, is there an architectural drawing of this damn thing anywhere? Because I'm trying to understand, like, what we're talking about. Like, are we just doing a shit ton of, like, picnic tables? It's sort of what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, the only thing I'm seeing is this picture on the Advocate that looks like a reflective pool with, like, a canopy resting area where they could do, like, shows and that type of thing, but it doesn't replace any of it.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of almost sounds like, yeah, we'll give you a memorial. We're not going to give you a venue.
Right.
We're going to give you a place to mourn, not a place to build.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that seems to be frequently, like, many cities' response to tragedy.
Right.
Is let's throw some names on some stones, plant some trees, and then never talk about it again.
Right.
And it's kind of like, dude,
I don't think they think in that mindset. Like, okay, a lot of people see a bar as just a bar. It's not for us.
Well, and very true, and I think there's a misunderstanding around that. But I think for
Right.
many cities, it really is that kind of thought process
Right.
of, they're tired of media attention. They are tired
Mm-hmm.
of people just like sifting through the carnage for
Mm-hmm.
death memorabilia. They are sick of the flowers and teddy bears and letters and photographs and whatever
Mm-hmm.
being left at the site. They're like, move on.
Yeah.
Seems to be many, or move to the side at least and mourn over
Mm-hmm.
here.
Right.
And it's like, it's not that I don't see a city's point.
Right.
Like, a lot of this ends up becoming, debris that they have to clean up. A lot of this becomes, an overrun of people
Right.
that aren't being respectful of the city, that are not even being respectful of the site of the tragedy,
Right.
that are interfering with investigations, that they have to hire extra police to handle or pull
Right.
them from other details.
Right.
It's not that I don't get it.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like this slap a band-aid over it approach of, well, we'll build a
Mm-hmm.
park. You
Right.
know. Eh,
Yeah.
eh. That's
Give
not
us something real. Give us something long term. Give us something that will actually benefit communities long term.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's not that, like, don't have the park. Like, we're down for that. Like, reflecting pools are great, canopies are great. These are
Yeah.
wonderful things. Doing spaces, do it like around something
Right.
that has a little more concrete staying power and kind of helps to mend the social safety
Right.
net of
Right.
what was lost. So anyway,
Right.
that's the point we're making.
Yeah. That's the point I'm making. That is, well, and I'm making two different points. Well, three different points.
Oh.
One, if
Bars
you're
are important.
LGBT, bars are important, but if you're LGBT, I will tell you right now the things you need to focus on. Not the outfit for Pride. That's cute. Wear whatever. Nobody will remember that.
It'll end up crumpled in the floor later.
Yes. Focus on home, business that you can own, because your home, if you're renting, they can kick you out tomorrow. They will find a reason why.
If they even have to.
If they even have to. Job, they will find a reason why. If you own your own business, they don't have to. And build your own communities. Build your own networks. Build your own families. Point blank. Do it the way we've been doing it. This is how we succeed. Yes, we work our asses off. And there's an image, and I couldn't find it. I was going to throw it up on the screen. Harvey Milk, which they're wanting. The Senate is trying to stop it, but the Navy is wanting to name a ship after Harvey Milk. I think it's fucking great. That's just hilarious. But there's a picture, and the picture is the paycheck with bloodstains all over it. It's a picture of Harvey Milk's desk. It's a crime scene photo. That is the most gay picture I have ever seen in my lifetime.
Okay.
Because Milk literally built himself up. He did not come into the world rich. He did not, have a silver slipper. And he done a lot of things that for the community. That's the whole reason we have a flag, is because he challenged a drag queen to create a flag. But that really represents Gen X gay, boomer gay, is money and sufficiency.
It does. Well, and they're very important things, and I think they're things that sometimes get lost in translation of like the 90s and early 2000s up to today.
Right.
Is we're building a lot of online communities with a lot of spread out people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not a bad thing. It's not a
Mm-mm.
bad thing. But it doesn't necessarily help.
Right.
I mean, it does, but it like if you get kicked out of your house tomorrow, where are you going?
Right.
And how are you getting there?
Right.
And do you have the resources? Are you gonna have the resources?
Right.
Like if you come home tonight, your locks have been changed.
Right.
Like you can't get back in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have everything on you?
Right.
Do you have somewhere to go? How are you getting there?
Right.
Like what do you really need? How do you rebuild?
Right.
Because again, not trying to fearmonger, but it is a thing that can happen.
Right.
And I mean, it happens to people in general.
Right.
Like you get a very motivated landlord to sell,
Mm-hmm.
and this is for anyone. Um, Sometimes the legal penalties are worth it.
Right.
Just point blank, it's fine me.
Right.
Fine me.
Right.
Like I get an extra $2 million if I close this deal tomorrow.
Right.
They don't want any of these low rent tenants.
Right.
I change a bunch of locks. You find me a few $1,000s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well.
Right.
Some people's rights to housing got
Right.
violated.
Right.
Like it's a business decision. It's a cruel business decision,
Mm-hmm.
but it happens to people.
Right. And it's balancing. It's, and I don't think that there's a lot of talk about gay economics. And, I mean that as in our 20s and our 30s as gay men, we do college and we travel, but no one talks about gay economics, about, there's a cost, a big cost. And no one cares, talks about, directs it. Everyone is always talking about, oh, go have fun, experience wildness, But no, like invest in 401ks, invest in property, invest in real estate, invest in your community. And for those wanting to donate to Pride this year, or donate to this, or donate to that, stop it right there. I've seen a few creators say this and it aggravates me. Put money where it works, which is in your local people.
Well,
Go
yeah,
hand.
and we've already seen Target gone.
Mm-hmm.
They have one shirt and it's kind of an insulting mess.
Yeah.
And like they're trying to oh yeah hi
Hi.
like please don't boycott us. Starbucks like they're a whole hot mess right now. Like and Pride's not even the top of the list for their problems.
Right.
Yeah, which is sad.
Right.
But no, they did a whole policy change. It's a hot mess for baristas. It's already having some really ugly consequences.
Right.
But they're out. They're done. Like,
Right.
sorry, no longer the flavor of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're anti-wokeness because that's where our customers say we need to be.
Right.
Because,
but no, instead of going and dropping the, let's say it's a $3 t-shirt and you're going to drop $22, $24 on it at Walmart, or buying the rainbow hat or the boa or the assless chaps, please turn around. Yeah. Well, and granted, support your vendors, but make sure those vendors are real vendors.
Yeah, that was something I noticed last year with like Beckley Pride.
Mm-hmm.
like I was having a moment there. I was
Right.
really like it ticked me off.
Okay, go
Like,
for it.
well, it was the point when I noticed that one of the vendors, and I kind of already had, like, just from the interaction, it's like you're just an ally vendor,
Right.
like, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm not picking up family vibe here.
Right.
But when you come walking into the Pride event with your Chick-fil-A for lunch, like, you bypassed every single vendor at the event to send someone out, walk down the street. And of all the places, because it's not like this, it's the middle of Beckley, like, you have options.
Yeah.
But you chose Chick-fil-A specifically.
Yeah.
Like, rude.
Very
Like,
rude.
I feel like, you know, anyone who spent money with you just watched their money walk across the street and buy some chicken.
Yeah.
That had no place at the event. Like, I don't understand how anyone's that tone deaf in, like, 2024.
Well, they're that tone deaf because they are they're not allies. They're there to make a buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, not really what we were looking for here. How did you get in? Like, or
they paid their application fee.
This is why we need the event, is so that someone can help educate you. That, like, do you realize what you just did?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to necessarily be the hateful asshole who's like, but, like, you just sold product to a bunch of gay people who I will pretty much almost universally say do not go to Chick-fil-A as a principled matter.
Right.
And then you literally, which, okay, you want to leave the event, you want to get Chick-fil-A on the way home, live your life, whatever. That's your choice.
Right.
But you carried it through the middle of the event, and you're going to sit in your booth and eat it, and, like, if you made a single sale after that, I don't know how. I don't know how.
Right.
I don't know where you found that one more customer or how quickly you had to hide all the wrappers in order to make one more sale after that. Because, like, I remember who you are. Like, I'm not going to confront you. I'm not going to be, hateful to you. I'm not going to throw things at you. I'm not a protester in that sense. But, yeah, I'm not buying anything from your booth.
Right.
Like, I will keep walking like, the next time I see you at an event, I will keep walking. Thank you very much. I appreciate your opinions, may not align with mine, but I think it's rude.
Well, I don't even think it's rude. I think it's like they should have been told to pack their shit up.
I mean, or at least gotten the do you like question of think it through, guys.
Yeah.
Like, do you realize what you're doing? Like, you could have made other choices. Like, I'm not even mad you didn't support the other vendors at the event, which would have been cool. And you frequently see, like, a $20 get passed all around an event. That, you spend $20 with this vendor, that vendor spends $20 with this vendor, and that vendor spends $20 with this vendor. And you see one of those 20s just like, you can put a little smiley face on it and just track it through every vendor stall it goes through. And it would be kind of hilarious. And that occurs. And it's cool. But if you're not going to do that, and I can understand, maybe you weren't into hot dogs or nachos, or, they had a few, I think, last year. Okay, cool, whatever. You wanted, a chicken sandwich. Like, you had other places. You had other local businesses that were way closer. You had chain businesses that were not Chick-fil-A that were closer.
There was McDonald's literally right next to the event.
Yeah, like, you could, I mean, granted, you had to go down like a flight of stairs, I think, but, you could have fell onto the McDonald's. It's right there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, all these other options that you had. And there's some really cool vendors or merchants on that main street.
Yeah.
Like, you had so many choices you could have made.
Right.
And, like, you made the most offensive choice.
True.
Like, pretty much the most offensive choice you could make.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Did
it
not
wasn't even
care.
like you did it and like you went over like, no, you're sitting in your booth just like, nah.
Yeah. All proud and shit. And I'm like, do you know where you're at? This isn't the local flea market. Granted, Beckley took a year off.
Yeah, they did.
Yep.
But no,
I'm hoping we can make Pride in the Holler. We will see. Depends on how this month goes. And it has nothing more to do with other than my calendar. Yeah. All right.
I do want to throw a quick side note real quick. It's not that I hate people who go to Chick-fil-A. I typically won't judge you for it. If you love God's chicken, go have your God's chicken. Like, go enjoy whatever. I'm not going to grief the hell out of you for it. It's just one of those, like, right here, right now, in this moment, that was the decision you made. Like, 364 days a year, any other place, any other time, you could have gone. You could have packed up after the event and gone. I'm just saying that was specifically, that felt pointed. That was kind of stabby. Yeah. That's my point. Just so, like,
no,
go have your chicken, enjoy your chicken. If that's what rocks your boat,
shut the business down.
Yeah.
Point blank. That's my opinion. That business, Hobby Lobby, there's a Michaels in Beckley. Thank God there's a Michaels finally in Beckley. Let those companies go bankrupt, in my opinion. They have done more to hurt. They have took the funding from their sandwiches and their craft supplies and hurt the American public more.
Yeah.
The number of women.
And I'm still at the point of, like, that's my choice. That's the choice I'm going to make.
Right.
I'm fine with other people. You make your own choice. You deal with that however you want to feel about it. I don't necessarily think it's the right one. But cool, you do you. You do you. You love your God's chicken. You want to go get your anti-reproductive rights, craft supplies. Go for it. That's you. That's your choice. That's your thing. You make your own, trade-offs and reconciliation with it as you see fit. Right. And for some people, that doesn't bother them, and that's cool. That's cool. Like, I'm not going to hate you. I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to, like, scream you down in public. I'm just going, maybe if you're in an event, maybe if you know that's a hot topic.
Right.
Maybe you don't, like, throw it in people's face.
I'm sorry, that was like selling Bibles at a pagan event. Yeah. Point blank. All right. So let's run into, are you the jerk? Yeah, we're going with, no, are you the asshole?
Yes. Yeah. So am I the asshole for inadvertently comparing disabled children to animals? Oh, I feel this is going badly for me already. My parents are accusing me of doing this horrid thing in spite of me explaining to them multiple times that it wasn't my intention, and they're twisting my words. So my parents were talking about me getting married. I don't ever want to get married due to a lot of reasons. I'm also really young to get married, but they keep bringing this topic up, and it infuriates me. So they were once again talking about finding a girl for me. They know I can't marry a girl and how cute the grandchildren would be and what they would name them. It rubbed me the wrong way, and I told them once again that I'm not going to get married ever, and they must stop talking about it. They didn't like that and told me I would be all alone when I'm old, and there would be no one to take care of me. I told them I would be able to afford help so they don't need to lose their sleep over it. They said they were talking about children and how I'd be childless and lonely with no family. I told them I would keep pets and they would be like children to me. My parents don't think pets can ever be family, so they mocked me by saying I'd be doing everything for the pets instead of them doing anything for me, even in the old age. They said it would be extra cumbersome since I'd be not only taking care of myself, but my children forever, and they can never make up for human kids. I was livid and pissed, so I said people take care of their disabled kids all their life, even if they're old, and if that counts as family, then my pets would be too. They were shocked and said there's no way I compared disabled people to animals. I was shocked since that's not what I was doing at all. I was merely trying to make a point. I think they did that because I stumped them, but maybe they have a point. Even if it wasn't intentional or malicious, maybe it was an awful thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the asshole? I'm taking not the asshole right off the board. I think that's everyone's shitty here. Your parents are worse than you. I
No,
think
you're all shitty.
I think you said something in a moment that like you didn't really think that all the way through in what you just said.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I don't know, I'd probably explore that a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think you just stumbled into one of those moments like I did not know that about myself.
Right.
And maybe work on that.
Yeah.
I sort of understand the point. And I don't think it was to compare disabled children to animals specifically.
Right.
But it was, well, if we're going to talk about, parents who have children and, they end up doing everything for their kids, but their kids aren't able to have that reciprocity.
Right.
You're not wrong per se.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a horrible comparison to make. Ultimately,
Right.
in today, that's not really a comparison you want to have.
Right.
There's issues there.
Right.
Again, kind of understand the point you were making. I think they did kind of take it out of context and twist it around, but they're not without their own point.
Right.
That's a shitty viewpoint.
Right.
That no, you really no, please don't. So yeah, I'm going with everyone's shitty here, and you really need to set with that and figure out some things about yourself. Because
Exactly.
I think the fact that you were so easily able to make that comeback says some things about issues you may have and how you feel about disability, people with disabilities, how you're viewing them all as a group, and whether or not they're contributing.
Right.
Even though they may need accommodation, even
Right.
though perhaps their condition is such. Because, and then more to the point, I think you probably need to spend some time with this idea that the role of children, the reason you have them is to take care of you in your old age. If that's why you're having kids, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Let's just all agree for once and for all that if that's the reason,
Mm-hmm.
you just locked in on that one and, that's why you had kids.
Right.
Also needs some work.
Yeah. Needs a lot of work.
Yeah. Granted, that's more your parents' idea than your own, but I think you're kind of
Right.
locked in that mindset.
Right.
Okay.
Very much so, and I'd apparently missed a pride formation.
Oh wow, we have a new pride.
We have a pride in Fayetteville.
Oh, nice. I think we
Cool.
did miss that. All righty.
Great. So we will be looking more into that. All right. So the poll is up. Go ahead and vote. Now, I want to talk about this story instead of doing a,
Reddit
Gabriel
or-
over 30 post or Reddit or whatever. And this is, we're starting, gay travel is starting to see something interesting.
Yes. And I'm sorry, I thought we were cutting that one, so I just need a second. There we go.
Okay.
All right. So in recent months, we've seen a significant shift in inquiries from LGBTQ plus American travelers looking to spend more time abroad, particularly in European destinations. Out of office founder Darren Byrne told Euronews. We believe that now they're not only wanting to discover new destinations across the continent and immerse themselves in local culture and experiences, but to seek the sense of safety and inclusivity that many European countries offer. That sentiment is tracking, according to International LGBTQ plus Travel Association President and CEO John Tenzella. We've heard from travelers feeling uncertain about visiting the U.S., especially trans and gender diverse individuals, Tenzella told NBC News. These decisions are often driven by concerns about safety, treatment at the border, and access to affirming healthcare. Some have canceled their trips, many others are still coming, but they're being more selective about where they go. Statista, in collaboration with Spartacus International Gay Guide, turned their research into a color-coded map. Guess what? Northern Europe, much of South America, and Australia are making the rest of us green with envy.
Mhm.
So, yeah, sometimes you can have your cake and eat it too. Oh, sorry. I got a little lost in that article. So, yeah, basically what it was showing was it was indexing from least safe to safest, and like where to go.
Yeah. And what to do. I mean, I'm looking at Austria and going, that'd be interesting. So, where are we traveling to this year?
Well, it looks like your safest place in the world is, let's see, Canada, and the UK. A
Right.
little lighter green for some of the other countries they mentioned. And then, yeah, the US is at a almost perfect 0.
Yep.
For
Like, no one's
safe.
coming here.
It's like it's not extra safe, it's not extra dangerous. It's, I don't want to call it the Goldilocks zone, but it's the maybe not right now.
Right.
And then of course you have your countries where it is far less safe to travel.
Mhm.
And those are the ones one would expect.
Right. And those are the ones that are questionable, debatable. I mean, and a lot of the, like, South America, I'm game. Like, please, I will travel to South America. I think that would be amazing. Bali, let's go. Like, there's a lot of good travel opportunities out there. And, it's very interesting that, the U.S. makes a lot of money off of tourism. We have Disney World, Disneyland, Disney everything. But we're not seeing that.
Yeah, well, and if you're originating in like what is, like Canada, which is literally marked as the safest, if you're originating in countries that are safer in general,
Right.
the idea of coming to a country that is less safe and the adjustments you go through with that
Right.
is that's anywhere from like avoid public displays of affection. Don't start complimenting people you find attractive without getting to know them a little bit first. All the way to like you're probably not going to make it out of this alive.
Right.
And that's been kind of reserved for the least safe countries. And yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, the U.S. isn't quite there yet. It's like, oh, you'll make it a lot live, but your experience can vary a lot.
Exactly.
Depending upon where you are, what you're doing. You know, are you being cognizant of like this may not be the
Mhm.
best place to start being like totally out.
Right.
Like there are issues here. You will encounter people.
Mhm.
It may not go well.
Right.
Like most likely not a loss of life event. Very likely not a loss of life event. But it can make for a very crappy stay.
Right. You know, it can be a lot of crappiness going on, and you want to have a great vacation. You worked hard to get it. Yes, I know you get a month for it. Go somewhere like Canada. Don't come to the U.S.
Oh yeah.
All right. So let's take a look at the poll, shall we? Where are you? Are we finally going to be able to give you the asshole award? Nope. Nope. Not going to be able to do that.
Wow.
I'm going to be able to put you in a pickle jar.
Oh, we went with the dill pickle.
Yeah.
It's a dill pickle. I like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's problematic. Like
Mm-hmm.
again, I see what you did there, dude. Just very grindy thought.
Right.
Like, gotta work on that.
Right. You know, and got to pull it together. All right. So with that, guys, we will see you on possibly Tuesday. We're not going to guarantee a Tuesday show. It may end up being a Wednesday show because it's that time of the quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So with that, y'all, take it away, Vanna.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, and Bella. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yes. All right, guys. You have a great night, and we'll see you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
And let's